Another thing, sometime beginning around, I don't know, not 1700, not 1500, I don't know. At some point in time, I began this project to see if it's possible to communicate with the brain or to actually interface with the brain. Most people know this project to be the little where they hook up the little wires and they move the mouse around the screen. But through technology and nanotechnology and other things, it's possible to do more than that. Even read thoughts, even maybe even access memories inside of a person's mind. I mean, they're all locations if you understand the brain. And sometime, I don't know, probably around beginning in the 1950s or 1960s, I was spending a lot of money or directing a lot of people to actually see if they can interface with the brain. Mostly it's for coma patients and people like that. Um, Lucifer Star, me, Brian, the creator of 12 Races and whatever. And also, technically, I was a computer back then or something like that. I don't know. And at some point in time, they say I was in a coma. And that's where I spent my 1,000 years or something like that. I don't know. It's kind of weird. It gets all weird and strange and everything else like that. Also, like a lot of the projects, like immersive virtual reality, and everything else. And there was also other projects. I mean, all the crazy wacky projects that they thought Adolf Hitler was doing. It's like no, I was the leader of Germany. I was the creator, and I was the leader of Germany. And I had been leading Germany mostly because, like I said it back then. I said, well, because I have no reason to lie. I mean, I am the creator of 12 races and 2 galaxies. It's like I lead my life forms, and that's what I do. And technically, I'm retired because I mean, there's 800 galaxies out there. There's 2 galaxies right here. One being attracted towards this galaxy, which is known as the Milky Way. So I mean, technically, like I'm 100 trillion years old in actuality. So it's like, I mean, I'm very much retired. So as far as virtual reality, all that other stuff, I mean, it doesn't take that long to get some serious technology. Anyway, and my name's Brian. Brian Nathaniel Alexander Bradley, or just Brian is what I was known as for before, or all, or Alexander Lucifer Luera, which is the name I changed my name to after Brian Bradley. Um, but actually, my real name is really Lucifer Star, and more people know me as Lucifer Star than anything else. So, anyway, the one with all the stars and all the steam engines and the spindly wheels and the LS Titanic and the LC shipyard just above that. Anyway, there's a lot of little projects that's having people work on, and I mean, I should have just I mean, well, things were different before. We had a lot more technology with exoskeletons and stuff like that. Like, I spent most of my existence having really high technology. It's only in more recent years as Brian that the things have kind of like hit a small snag, as they say. Um, but I mean, as far as like reading people's minds and all that other stuff, I mean, through technology, it's possible. But even accessing memories and stuff like that. But I mean, I started those projects, but I mean, I'm the creator to 12 races and 7,000 plant life. Although I only remember a few trees, really. I used to do genetics. Like I said, I created some hardwood that wouldn't burn, and some other cute little things, and possibly also the mosquito insect and even the mosquito flyer. A lot of commemorations and all that other stuff. So anyway, I had a lot of projects going, and well, anyway, and I also named America, and I also designed how the American system works and everything else like that. So anyway, yeah, I mean, it's all very interesting and very ridiculous. And Nixon and a lot of the other people in the White House were trying to outmatch me or something like that because it's Lucifer White Star's house, and that's Lucifer White Star's white D.C. building. It's my white Washington D.C. just like I had white Chernobyl and white Singapore and white other cities. I had cities that were made from white blocks to say that these are Lucifer White Star cities. Just like my white aircraft, just like my white ships, just like my white submarines, just like my other stuff. Although my white submarines were for rent, and I had other submarines. Like I had much more advanced submarines, but they were for military use only, and not for the public because they're dangerous and had to be used with great caution. Anyway, so there's a lot of interesting things, but that's Lucifer White Stars. And like I said in Pearl Harbor, I had all the fuel tanks right there, my White Star fuel tanks. I should have had them made star shaped, but they said round was better. So, oh well. I was like, whatever, round is fine. It's kind of hard to make star shaped fuel tanks. Anyway, I should have had them be star shaped. just to further the Lucifer Star, because there's a lot of question about who Lucifer Star was and even the spelling of my name. It's S. Anyway, Lusifer Star. The stars, like the stars on that, like the star on that screen. Like the star on the sheriff's badge, like the star on top of the Kremlin. Like the stars on the back of bullets, like back in the old days. If you ever see a bullet like that, I don't think that they have them anymore, but there were bullets right where the blasting cap was. There's a star shape. Anyway, so there were star bullets. I did a lot of little fun things like that, where to basically reinforce. So it was like a star with a circle, because of blasting cap. So, and those were my bullets, made in my shell manufacturing plant. So anyway, eventually I think the shell plant got taken over or something like that, or we just did away with it because it was war. And in war, we had to do away with. Well, I think they still lasted because the machines were made to put that imprint in the bottom of the shells. So I think they might have actually been just making those shells, not even knowing that, because a lot of what they did was they just took over the factories and they didn't even realize, whose factories they were taking over. So they kept producing stuff even though they had killed everyone at the factory, and even killed the whole town. So, and they were just using the machinery, like, and every shell had my little star on the bottom of it. So, I'm not exactly sure what happened. So, yeah, that's the funny thing about people and like when you get plans for like a submarine or something, you just build it the way the plans say, right? Stars and all. So, even though people were technically long dead, even though they'd gone and shot and killed every person at the town practically. They just were making the shells, so my shells were still going out into the world, and people were like, wait a minute, that's Lucifer Stars. Anyway, like I said, they tried to stomp me out as violently as they possibly could. Shoot first, and ask questions later. That was the U.S. military's attitude. Shoot first, ask questions later. For going into World War I, World War II, and Vietnam. And that's what they were doing. They would always shoot first, and they didn't care if they killed civilians, they didn't care if they killed women, they didn't care if they killed children. They just didn't care. And I'm pretty sure that was the Yankees or whatever. Anyway, that was their mentality. Anyway, though, but whatever. Eventually, they ran out of money because they're basically just a roaming hit squad that had to keep on the move because people were after them. Because when you kill a whole town or 2 or 3 whole towns, people start going looking for you. And that's what they were doing. They were doing that in Germany. They did that in Mexico. I wasn't sure if it was the same people or different people. It was hard to tell. But there's definitely a group of 1,000 or 3,000 people just going around shooting people. So anyway, it was a problem for the world, though. Anyway, the longest time. But they would just go in, there'd be like 3,000 or 300 people, all with guns, and they would besiege the town. First they'd hit the police station, then they would hit the bank, then they would hit the car dealerships or whatever, and take everything they could.